responsibility. We already know that is a big challenge. It's really hard for our fans. I know that, and we know that. So we have to improve, to think also in long term, but understanding that you are in Manchester United, you have to prove every day. So we will try to do that, and the best thing is to focus on the job and to focus in the next game.
That was the Manchester United manager, Ruben Amorim, who is now 13th in the Premier League.
And bizarrely, I kept going on about the last manager, saying about no Manchester United manager can justify a deficit in the goal difference column, and they're still at -1. I just find that, you're talking about Man United. They've conceded one more goal than they've scored. I mean, it's just incredible. Having said that, Bournemouth, 8 wins from 17 games. That takes some doing, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Brilliant.
Let's go over to a friend of the show who's turning up for his Sunday afternoon therapy, as he's a United fan and I'm a Spurs fan. Adam joins us. Evening, Ad.
Ad.
I think you might need therapy as well. Should we do a double one?
Oh, mate. Do you know what it is?
Both therapy.
Like that crazy game that we had in the week, right, with Spurs and United in the Carabao Cup, that summed us both up right now. It was ludicrous. It was a joke.
Only Spurs can do that, though, Podge. Before we get on to United, only Spurs can do that. Spurs is the only team that can play Barcelona on a Wednesday at the Nou Camp and get a result, and then go Everton away and get slapped 4-1. Like, only Spurs can have them results, but I'm not here to talk about Spurs. First and foremost, I want to say Bournemouth. It's easy to blame United, but Bournemouth played well. You could just see, this is the second season running. They slapped us at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And clearly, Mr. Pardew made such a valid point. We've got a minus goal difference. We can't keep out the goals. We can't score them. Yet we spent 400 in the summer. I think we spent £200 million.
Yeah, you mentioned Bournemouth there, Ad. I'm a huge fan of Semenyo. These players at these clubs. There's like Alanga at Forest, and you've got Semenyo at Bournemouth. This is why the Premier League this season's so interesting, and why we're seeing teams like Bournemouth getting results against United, getting results against Spurs.
And Forest.
And that's what I'm saying, Forest, they've got a few players there as well. I just think this is why the Premier League is such a difficult place to exist right now, because there's so many good players throughout the league.
Especially when you're making massive errors like Man United have made in the transfer market by buying inflated prices for inflated players. And that, I'm afraid, is a fact, because the manager that you got, by the way, I'm a big fan of his, and I think he's going to be a success. But boy, has he got a job, as Den Haag had found out by losing his job with that squad of players. At least you can see Amorim has now decided to attack the disciplinary side of that dressing room, and hence no Rashford again today.
He hit the nail on the head during the week on I think it was CBS or something. He hit the nail on the head. He said, Anthony, we're going to struggle to get rid of a player. We're going to have to pay a club to take Anthony off our hands. That's how bad. I watched him against Spurs the other day, and he was just. Honestly, it's just like, who signed off that deal? I would love. That's the person that needs to get sacked. The person that signed off an Anthony deal. The person that signed off on that deal needs to get sacked.
Well, it's not just him, by the way. It's not just him. There's 4 or 5 in that squad. Well, actually, I could name about 8 or 9, which I'm not going to, though I think should not be at Man United. Yeah. If I was a Crystal Palace manager, I would say I don't think we want them. I don't think they're better than what we got.
We got fundamental issues that need to be fixed throughout the whole club.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just on the playing wise. We've got a fundamental issue at this club, and Ruben's coming at a time where this season, sadly, is written off. I think if we even finish in the top 7, we somehow
top 7,
right.
Adam, you got no chance.
No, I don't believe. Nowhere near top 4. I can confidently say that. There's going to be 14. There was a few weeks ago, or towards the back end of last season, where we were laughing at Chelsea and the signings that they were making and the money that they spent. But you know what? The gaffer's come in. He's settled that squad, and now look where Chelsea are. We need a bit of patience as United fans. We need to have some time. Obviously, we've got a new gaffer in. We need to give him that structure. But come January, even in January, I don't think we should sign anyone. He's just got to work with what he's got. In the summer, he's got to start clearing out now in January. And the board really need to back him. And when I mean back him, I don't mean 80, 90 million pound signing. There's guys out there that you can get that will improve your squad for 15, 20, 30 million pound.
Unfortunately, we don't seem to be looking for them anymore. And this is why the likes of...
Yeah, well, they have got a bit of a problem at Man United. If Man United are picking up the phone to, I don't know, Porto or anyone else, they're going to get an inflated price for sure. They have to work through that process, and they have to find a player that, you know, I don't know, with clause. You know, sometimes you can find a gem who actually has a clause which is realistic, like a 40 million Gyökeres who come out of Coventry, for example. He could be leading the line for Man United.
The problem is, Mr. Pardew, there's Man United tax, which other clubs don't.
Yeah, that's what I just said. They do.
Come in, it's like another 20, 30 million on top straight away.
Yeah, they do. They They generally do that. They just bang it on and think they're not going to pay it, and then they do. The point is, that's where your negotiator has to kind of work things round and look at players who are out of contract, etc., and find out where the deals are. This is the clever clubs that do that. And at the moment, Man United are not shown that. They're not been shrewd like that. And unfortunately, they find themselves paying through the nose for players who actually are not good enough.
Not at all. Not at all. But, gentlemen, I wish you all the best. Enjoy it.
Adam, it's always lovely. Pleasure to speak to you, mate. And you have a lovely Christmas with your family.
Thank you very much. I'm going to turn on BT Sport now and watch Juventus versus Monza. Maybe that will give me some joy.
Whilst you listen to the Trans Euro Express as well in the background with Danny Kelly afterwards to get all your European action updates. Thank you, indeed. Thanks to Adam. Happy Christmas, mate. Fundamentals wrong at the Man United. Fundamentals wrong at Spurs. With Ange, right? I want your perspective on this because you're a manager, and I know you're always in the back of the managers here with your... Is it LMA, the League Managers Association hat on? You're never one to try and get a manager sacked. You've never done that, and I respect that. With Ange, how long can he go with this philosophy of not changing things in the Premier League and be literally, like you said, he goes all in. So you need the players there to do that. And I think the start of last season when we had that magnificent run where we were near the top of the table before the Chelsea game, we had all the players. It was fresh. They bought into the ideas. It looked great. And
not only that, Madge, you know, when you're going all in and you start getting results, actually, you don't all have to be all in then either. Your players start relaxing and they're so confident that they start playing a game that sort of resembles what you're trying to achieve, but it's not all in, if you know what I mean. Sometimes when you have got a style that is like this, when players are not confident, it makes it look so much worse. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
So, you know, you've got two issues going on here. One, you've got a really risky style that puts individuals, particularly defenders, at real kind of risk. And secondly, you haven't got confidence in your team. The team hasn't got confidence to keep the ball, the strikers to kind of buy time and have a real nous about what you're doing. So it's sort of compounded. My problem, I think, that Ange is going to have is in his own dressing room. I genuinely think there's going to be like, come on, Gaffer, we can't go on like this. We need to like adjust a little bit, tweak some stuff. Surely, because in my experience, when you're on tricky runs and there is a real fundamental flaw, i.e. this high line, blah, 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 and you defenders keep running back to the goal to try and desperately defend, then, you know, you have a coming together of minds, of senior players and staff, and come to a conclusion that, OK, let's just tweak it a little bit. And I think that's what needs to happen.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.